Hey Judy, here we are in Photoshop CC. We have that fabulous photo of Slade open right there in Photoshop. As you can see, the tab, this is the tab that is the name of the JPEG. And let's just get right to it. What we want to do is we want to find out what the size of this is. And Photoshop does a great job of explaining and telling you what the size is. And we'll just walk through it. So I'm going to go up to the top where it says Photoshop CC. It's the top menu. You're going to go to Image, and you're going to scroll down to Image Size and let go. And the image size window comes up. And this is where we're going to do most of our work, and it's the information that you actually need. So this image that you took, it has been saved as a JPEG. We know that. The resolution of this is 72 pixels per inch. And because it's so low res, the actual physical size, the width is 68 inches. The height is 45 something inches. So it's over 5 feet wide by almost 4 feet. Needless to say, this is not the size that you want or need. And that's because if you think about it, 72 pixels per inch is not very many pixels. So what you want to do is you want to up the amount of pixels per inch, and the bigger the number of pixels per inch, the higher the detail, the better the quality of the image. That's one way to think about it. And in this image size window, it will give you a very clear idea of what happens when you change the resolution, what happens to the physical size of the actual image. So to do this, you've got your image size window open. The very first thing you do is you uncheck resample, unclick it, click it there so that it has no check mark. Super, super important. Most important thing of all. Usually it's the thing people forget, and then they've messed up their image. So we are not resampling. Resampling means we're interpolating the image into a different pixel size. We do not want to do that. We want to keep this just the way it is, but we want to change the resolution. And what happens when we go to a higher resolution is the width proportionally, not the width, the physical size goes down as the resolution goes up. So if I just retype here where it says resolution and I put in 200, it went from almost 5 feet wide to 24.5 inches. And notice it changed both numbers automatically. That's because this bracket is on, which holds the proportion, the aspect ratio of the image intact, so that it changes it proportionally, which is super important. Now, if we decided that we want to save it as a 300 pixels per inch, look what happens when we change it to 300. The image gets even a little bit smaller. It's now 16 inches wide and almost 11 inches high. So that's fine, because this could go to a commercial printer now if it was 300 pixels per inch. Now, you can always print a higher res image on a printer. You should not print anything lower than like 150 on a consumer printer. Let's change this back down to 200, because that, I think, would be smart for you for your printer. And we're just going to say OK. And notice that nothing changed. The image looks the same in the monitor. But what you want to do always is just save everything in different formats. So I'm going to change it from a JPEG to a Photoshop. I'm going to add some information to the name, and this is just what I do. So I'm going to say 200 ppi, and that tells me that it's number one, it's not the JPEG, and number two, it's the PSD, and it is at 200, because we might change and have another version that's even smaller or higher res. So that's the basics. That's the most important thing you can do. Now let's say you want to you want to go back and you want to change it. You want to have a 300 version. You would go back. You would open up the original JPEG. Actually, you didn't even have to, but let's say you did. Let's go back to the original JPEG. It's good practice. You're going to go to image size again. I could have gone to the 200 one. Resample, make sure it's not clicked. Change this one to 300. Say OK. Save as. And again, I tend to put in the resolution so that I know what it is, and I want to change it to Photoshop, and I'm going to save it. Okay, so now if you wanted, I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to close that one down. Let's go back to the 200 pixels per inch, because that's probably what you're going to use. And let's say that you want to actually you want it to fit on 1117 paper, but the gallery is asking for it to be a 10 by 14 print, which your gallery seems to have been dictating size, which is so weird. So what you could do is you could change this to 14, and it means that it's 9.33, so it's not exactly 10 by 14. Might be okay, might not, but at least you know what's happening when you go there. But I'm going to say no. I'm going to do this a different way. I'm going to actually use the crop tool to make this image exactly 10 by 14. So to go to the crop tool, you can actually just hit the C key, or it's this icon here. It should be the one that defaults there. And then I'm going to, because I've already done this once because I made a couple videos beforehand, what you want to do is you want to look up here. This is called the control or the options bar. And when you go to the crop tool, it's going to say ratio. And I want you to click to WXHX resolution. And notice the crop tool has put a grid on things. Right now we're not doing anything. You want to make sure there's no data in any of these three fields. So if you do have anything in there, which I doubt you do, you would click this downturned little circular arrow and it would zero it out. So what we want it to be, let's say we want it to be 14. This is the width field, so 14 by 10. And this image is 200. So we're going to say it's 200 pixels per inch. Now you want to make sure that this stays the same with whatever the image is that you have open. And notice that it's given us this grid and it's grayed out part of the image. You can actually still move the image underneath kind of that grid, and you want to be careful about the height because it's kind of close. But you can change to whatever you want. Like let's say you think that's a good crop. Once you like it, you would then, and you want to make sure you see no checkerboards. So you want to kind of make sure that it's nice and clean. Once you like it, you click the check mark up at the top, or you can hit the return button. The check mark works better sometimes. That crops it. So now, if we go to image size again, it is exactly 14 by 10 at 200 pixels per inch. And you don't have to worry about it. If you wanted to go to print it right now, like if I go to print, and I have the Canon Pro 100, which is not exactly like yours, and you wanted to change the print settings to tabloid borderless, and you want it to be, save. You want it to be landscape, and it automatically centers it here, and then you would just hit the print button and you're good to go. You've got a 10 by 14 print on a 17 by 11 page. Also, you know to use to load up whatever paper you're using. You want to make sure that you pick the correct printer drivers here. So let's say it's Photo Paper Pro Premium, that would be it. Okay? I hope that is clear. I can make more videos for you anytime you want. Oh, and also this one. So you would actually save this as, at this point, um, I want to get out of the crop tool. I think I did it. I would now save as, and I would actually name it 14 by 10. And make sure that you can see that. So you know that that one has been sized completely. And there you go. Okay, hope that makes sense.